election of a planning committee chairman, which without that, we will not be able to do the planning committee. We can either do that, or the other option is just to defer them to the following week. Now this is, they do they are sort of quite urgent, they are in a process, so deferring another month is not a reasonable sort of way to go forward.
Not an option with Beaconsfield
Not
Road.
an option at all really, so it would be preferable, because we would only have to do it the following meeting anyway, is to elect a chairman of the planning committee. You're all members of the planning committee, but we need a chairman of the planning committee. Have we got any volunteers to be a chairman of the planning committee?
Oh, okay.
You want to volunteer? Okay, so I propose that Councillor Mark Jess be the chairman. Would end just a basic show of hands. Those four in favour of Councillor Mark Jess being the planning committee chairman. You can vote yourself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in favour.
Those against?
None
Those
against.
abstaining? One abstention. Congratulations. Can you do this one first, please, Sharon?
Okay.
Was there any response back?
Mr. Chairman, the planning officer Sophie Bowden has now made me aware that it is a second garage being erected, not one being taken down and another one put back up. Basically, the plans weren't very clear on what was happening down there. They didn't really tell us whether it was a second garage or whether it was... Sophie Bowden's done a site visit and has found that it is a second garage going up, and I would say if you do look, there is quite a bit of public push-pull over it.
Yeah, I think at the last planning meeting, I do believe we deferred it to today because we wanted clarification, because you just couldn't see what was going to go up.
I do believe we have the applicant here.
Can I just say it's not a second garage at all? It's only one garage and the other building is a boat house.
So is it going next to your boathouse?
No, the other end of the site.
Okay.
There's been a building on that site for 40 years,
That's right.
one way or
Are you
another.
are you able to show us exactly where it's going? Because it's not very clear in this plan, because if you can see it's all sort of,
Going where?
it's like the building which is there at the minute.
No,
You can't really see the building.
that's the house, it's there.
Oh, that's the house, alright.
I'm
That's
sorry.
the house, it's there. Boat yard, the boat shed is there, the
Right.
garage is, and there's been a build. I bought that land 40 years ago, there was a...
So it's basically going just directly behind the
It's
house?
just exactly, there's a big Lando hedge here, nobody can see it apart from two people that live there.
So you're not going to the state?
No. But there has been a building on the site for 40 years and
I see.
various sorts of other
And all it's, so it's the building's coming down, and you're
Yeah.
replacing the...
Yeah,
Is
it's
there a
down
hard,
already.
is there a hard standing there already?
Yes, because I put that under PD.
That's right, and so yeah. So is the new building going on that hard stand, or
Yes.
is the hard stand coming up and a new hard stand going
No,
down?
it's going on the hard stand.
Okay.
So where exactly is the back of your house, this sort of drawing?
Right over here.
Oh, right.
That's, see where what they've got. I'll get all the information. That's the door, so that, my house is right over here, it's miles
Alright, so
away.
it's going this way?
The road, Beaconsfield Road is here.
Yeah.
That's trees, because they can't even see it.
Are those trees been affected?
No, not at
No,
all.
no.
No, that's their fence.
Yeah.
They're not being affected in any way, shape or form. I've purposely put it fairly tight here. If I'd have left that 2 metres away, I put it under PD. But it would have been a lot of wasted space here, and it would have just been wasted space. So I've had to drive the planning permission, because under PD I'd have to put it quite away from the fence.
Yeah.
As it is now, because it is near the fence, we've got to have this flame retardant. Maidstone Borough Council Building Control have confirmed they want half an hour fire protection on it,
Yeah.
which is what this chemical will do.
Is it for the same use as before?
It's just park my car in.
That's
That's what you normally do. Yeah,
Sorry, can I ask, if you do any applications in the future, are you happy for me to contact you directly?
There won't be any more applications.
Oh, okay. It's just that I didn't know if I could, that's why I contacted Sophie.
No, you can do that. it's not
Oh,
a problem.
thank
The
you.
only one application I might do in a few years' time is that about 10 years ago I got planning permission to build houses on the site. For personal reasons I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I might well do it in the future. But that would be a whole different ballgame.
That would be.
That's good to know we've opened up the lines of communication.
Yes,
Thank you.
What's the head, that's 6 foot as well?
It's 6 by 9 metres.
Oh, right.
6 by 9 metres, 54. The base is put down under TD, but it is done to the specification of the people that make the garage.
That's right.
So it's not a problem, it's the right size.
And
Any other question?
how high are the trees? Do they sort of...
Oh,
They're up there, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Just look out there, yeah.
That's probably what's going to happen there.
There was two choices, one for the concrete one up, which meant I wouldn't have had to done this right flame retardant.
Yeah.
But they're also looking things concrete, which is like the council house. So I was going to go for it. It does look better than any other building that's been there over the last 40 years.
Okay, we're still moving on. Is there anybody else want to see the plans? We did see the plans last time, and I think we was all sort of happy-ish with them at the time. And obviously,
The issue was obviously...
Chairman, yeah, the issue was we couldn't really see what was in that big black thing. And all we wanted to do is clarification, which is why we deferred it to today's meeting. I'm glad that you've come along to explain exactly where it's
Well, that big black thing is number 31.
We thought it was empty ground.
hand it to you, Chairman, to
Any other questions?
either make an
No,
approval, either make an approval or rejection.
Can I put forward for approval?
Certainly can. Would you like anyone like to second it? I'll second that. All those in favour? Unanimous. Unanimous.
Thank you
Unanimous.
very much for that. Can I just ask one question, then committee members might know? The planning fees that are set by central government, local authorities I think are bound to abide by them. For some obscure reason, Maidstone Borough Council have put a £25 admin fee on top of them all. Now I believe that the whole of the planning application was admin fee. Why Maidstone Borough Council have decided it off their own back to put £25 admin fee on everything, I've got no idea.
I'll question it for you.
I've spoken to several other councils and they don't do it. So it's a bit naughty, I think, of Maidstone Borough Council to,
It should be.
well, if it's a national
It should be
fee that's
policy.
been set, they shouldn't be going above it.
There may be some
Well,
obscure
there may be a
reason
reason why they
that we're
can.
not
I don't
privy
know.
to.
But it'd be interesting to get an answer.
Yeah. Well, I will ask for you.
I'll
Thank you very
ask.
much.
Okay, moving on to the second one.
Thank you for that.
I haven't had a chance to look at any of that.
No, is this one that just come
An
in?
erection
Yeah,
of a
half an
single-storey
hour.
rear extension, resubmission of 19503441.
Resubmission.
Yeah.
Now, Councillor Hogg may remember this. 46 Woodbridge Drive, did that come in not so long ago? Wasn't that the
I
one?
don't know without looking at the paperwork.
Because I remember once we were umming and ahhing over the dimensions.
What is it for?
It's a resubmission, then maybe it was rejected last time, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what's the front? What was it?
The front is, yeah. Sorry, it's not that I'm wishing to cut anybody else out, it's just that Councillor Hogg, I just remember Councillor Hogg looking at something.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I look at a map. This would be no.
Maybe the previous chairman, Mr. Porter.
Yeah.
Would you be the chairman shedding light on that? As the previous chairman, the planning application there, Woodbridge Drive, was it, could you recall when it was
Oh, hang
rejected?
on, I might remember it now.
I can't honestly remember after this time, to be honest.
See, we're women.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know if I was said, I'd probably be guessing.
Yeah.
I might remember it, yeah.
Thought it was.
Is there a reason there for the, obviously the rejection or the resubmission? An addition, an amendment to, or
Hang on.
is this a new application that's just come in? In the pipeline, where is it in the pipeline with NBC?
Give me the number and I'll get them.
We've got a number, please,
Give me the number, please. Thank you, it's alright, got it.
just to have a look, see how far it is
Yeah,
down
it
the
doesn't
pipeline.
say because this is
NBC.
all material.
If it's only a new resubmission, and I would suggest that maybe, because we prefer it, just give us more time to actually investigate the reasons why it's a resubmission.
Councillor Hogg, what's the date, submission date I've got for comments?
25th. Comments due by the 25th of October. The decision date's the 28th of November.
Sorry, just bear with me.
That's the existing one.
So we say it's just an extension, yes?
An erection of a second story rear extension.
Right,
Is there an aerial plan at all?
I only got that one there.
These are the only two. That's what's there at the moment. And that's what they're proposing to build. They're just basically proposing to add this square. So that's what the actual room's going to entail. That's what the roof's going to look like, and that's it on the side. And the other side. You can move that in. Which I can't see much of that. That's just a map of,
There was one, Councillor Hogg,
yeah,
there was an application, erection of a part single storey, part 2 storey rear extension, status refused.
was it a 2-storey? They've made it into one then?
No, it was a single storey.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and yeah, it was back in July of this year, so it must have been the same one.
And then you just resubmitted it without any amendments?
Yeah, well, it doesn't say they've amended it in any way, according to NBC's website. Wasn't it the let me have a look on the-
It weren't too close to the...
I think it was to do
it?
with the measurements was too close,
To
and
the-
extensions have to be within a certain meterage away from the house due to NBC ruling. I'm pretty sure that was it. 5th of July would have been June.
We have the option, Chairman, we have the option also to go no comment, which will then refer it back up the chain to NBC and let them make the decision.
Do any other councillors have any comments on this?
Well, obviously it must be
I don't see it.
I'd like to have
resubmitted.
seen an aerial plan.
Yeah.
You know,
Or I'd like to have seen the previous one
Yeah.
and to go, but being the time is short on the decision date of the decision and the comments date is
I
quite
don't see
short.
any problem with it.
It could be,
no, I can't see a problem
No, I
personally.
can't see it.
well, we're taking it on face value, but without both the previous one, which was rejected.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And whether it was rejected by TPC or MBC, we don't know that, not right at this moment. The new one and the old one, so we could go either no, approve, or no comment. Now, no comment would shuffle it back up the chain to either the planning inspectorate at MBC or MBC itself, the planning officer, to make their decision, which they could have done in the first place. I can't recall doing
So
that
if we put
previous
down due
chairman.
to no first...
We don't have to give a reason for that,
No.
we can just actually
Yeah,
say no
refer
comment.
it, yeah.
We can just actually say no comment.
Yeah, no comment.
But it is up to the chairman, of course.
So
That's
can I
just
put
my
it forward
views.
that we do no comment?
Yeah, I'll second that for the chairman.
Okay.
All those in favour of no comment?
Unanimous, perfect. Thank you very much.
Any other planning matters? Correspondence, number 13.
Yes, 3.
Correspondence, to be noted, correspondence received from Councillor Mike Hogg, resigning his seat on the council, to be noted.
That's been noted.
Correspondence received from KCC Highways, Waste and Transportation regarding the parish seminar on the 28th of November. I haven't got that at all.
You've been sent it by email. I can send it.
Could you resend that please, mate? And correspondence received from YMCA Preschool report submitted about how the preschool is doing and their successes.
It was in the packs, I scanned it in, and emailed it to all councillors.
They all have it.
Yeah.
I would like now to hand over to the clerk for the neighbourhood plan update. I do hand it over to the clerk because I haven't got a clue what she's talking about. So this is how far we've got towards it.
Yeah, sorry, let me just grab my notes.
And as you see from before, with the Ording Council, the chairman of the Ording Parish Council, we now have a contact to liaise with the more parish council, the more chairman of the parish councils that we have as well.
Okay, right, so I just wanted, I've sent you all out a brief of where we are, okay? Basically, obviously, the background I put in there is for the new councillors that weren't with us at the beginning. You know, so we've got a bit of background in there. The steering group throughout the summer has been working on quite a few bits and pieces. We are now at the stage where the policy is being pulled together. So what we're going to do now is we've done our data collection, we did our public meeting, we did the public meeting. I have sticky notes and graphs and everything of what people have told us they would change about Tovil, what they wanted, what they like about Tovil, and all the policies are being put together surrounding that evidence. Now what I will say is that evidence I have to submit all along this process, okay? So this ensures that the plan remains completely democratic. Now we have had a bit of a delay just recently, unfortunately just a couple of family commitments. You know, these steering group volunteers are not councillors, they are giving up their time. So we have slowed down a bit, but we are aiming for public consultation in January. So what will happen is in January 2020, what we're hoping is there will be some policies pulled together. We will hire the hall downstairs, we will have it all up in the hall, so you can all have a look at it. Everybody will be invited, I will be out pounding the streets, giving out leaflets, putting out posters again. Basically what we want people to come in and do is say, yeah, we've got it right, or no, you haven't. If you say, no, we haven't, we're probably all going to cry. But it's all done off that initial background, that initial bits and pieces. And I would say anybody who wants to check that I am doing my job properly and that it is being democratically done, you're more than welcome to look at the bits and pieces in my office. Come and look at the reams of post-it notes and things like that. Now, what I will say is we do need the parish council's guidance before the public meeting. We will need your seal wish list. So the first thing is the seal payments, what it is you want to do with those seal payments. So I know a building for a doctor's surgery has been banded about, so that would be great. You know, lots of bits and pieces. So sort of think about things, bring it to the meeting. We also want a bit of a parish wish list as well. So with a parish wish list, it's not like the seal, we can be a little bit imaginative with this. So we can be a little bit, I don't know, just plucking something out of the community plan. We could say we want a cafe by the river. We could say we want toilets by the river. So we can have those little wish lists, do you know what I'm saying? So that's something that you guys really need to be thinking about if you don't mind, so that we can have that popped on and we can get that all done. Another thing I will say is we have had a grant back from NBC. We've been reimbursed a figure of £2,500, hit the bank account last Friday. So we now have that to run with as a budget until the end of the year.
What was the money for?
Maidstone Borough Council give us a grant of £2,500 to do our neighbourhood plan. Now the way we claim that grant is we have to spend the money, we submit, I went through and submitted invoices and receipts and whatnot, proved everything I spent, and then they put the money back in our account. The other grant that is being applied for, which won't be as quick because we have to spend it within the year, is the locality grant. Now, that should all be applied for in the next couple of months. We're hoping then, that's around £8,000, that should hit our bank account come April, and then I've got a year to spend it on neighbourhood plan, I've got a year. However, that was held up because of the B word, so, yeah.
Have councillors been given a list of the payment, the £2,500 you got back? Have councillors been given the list of what the money was spent on?
No, would you like a list?
I would like a list.
Yeah, okay, I can do that, I can get the RFO to do that, that's not a problem.
Just to be.
I have got a sort of list of the,
Yeah.
I've got from the payment
Yeah, it's just that.
tallied up.
Well, yeah, lovely.
I think what I'll do is I'll do an official list and
Yeah.
send it.
Then we can actually see exactly what we spent the money on for that thing. I know we got the money back, but it'd be nice to find out what we actually, what things cost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah, and I think that's it really. And if anybody wants a copy, any of the members of the public want a copy of the update, then feel free to let me know.
Can I ask one other thing? At the consultation stage,
Mhm.
when we got all the things all around the room and downstairs, can any member of the public make more suggestions about amendments of what we can actually do and what they would like as well? And
Please
maybe
do.
we could sort of steer them in and tie them in together with what we want.
Literally, yes please.
Yeah.
Yes
Do
please.
you have to wait until then, or can I suggest one now?
No, you can suggest
yeah,
something.
It is because the land outside here, the building, that planning got refused by inspector.
Oh,
Due
the
to,
little,
yeah, the little strip
Yeah.
that they tried building on, that got refused by an inspector, a planning inspector, on sort of the grounds of it would be I can't speak today, detrimental to the street scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, I think, quite a high reason of why it was rejected. And I noticed in the plan she provided the other month that that piece of strip of land wasn't in a sort of an area for protection sort of thing.
No, because it's not local plan, okay? So the bits and pieces we provided, I have to go in line with NBC's local plan, I can't
Yeah.
go against it, okay? Now the call for sites currently
Yeah.
sat in the NBC local plan is Wolf Road, Tovil Parish Council, Tovil Working
Men's Club, yeah.
Working Men's Club, and the Crowdays, down by the river, industrial estate, Wolf Road,
Industrial estate.
yeah, okay? So these, oh sorry, and Postley Road's in there. So we've got three sites, Postley Road, Wolf Road and Tovil Working Men's Club. Now they are the only ones in the call for sites, okay?
Mhm.
I have a revised call for sites that's been sent to me confidentially. I know what's in there, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go in the new plan. When we write our neighbourhood plan, it has to go in line with NBC.
Right, okay.
So I cannot go,
Yeah.
because we're not doing a land allocation plan, we're doing a design-led plan. Because the building that's going on in Tovil is going up very quick, we want to make sure that the building it happens according to what we're saying. So what we need to do, how can I put it? Land allocation plan takes about 5 years.
Yeah.
A design-led plan, I can get through referendum by 2021, and that's what we want. Okay, it means that we've got a little more control. So with these local plan sites, we can turn around and say, I don't know, somebody says we're going to build 200 houses here. We can pop in our local plan. Well, actually, no, we only want 100 there because we feel that would be detrimental. So that's kind of the way we're going with it. Okay.
In layman's terms, if I could sort of break that down.
Yeah.
Sorry. If I could try and break that down, a land-based plan would mean if we'd spent a lot of time over it, we could allocate or we could say to NBC, these parts of lands we don't want built on, these we can be built on, and all the rest of the stuff. It takes a long time. With a design-based plan, we forego that right and give that authority to the planning inspector and NBC planning. They allow them the sites to be built, but we have the say, or we have a big say over how it is designed, what goes in it, and the design of that particular site. So we do have a bigger say, but it's a much quicker process. And don't forget, when NBC in the local plan put this stuff, they're very, very powerful. And if we went for the design, the land-based plan, our small say would probably be very negligible on how we could object to it anyway. So it might even go ahead anyway. So this is the safest one, that when we do have something built in our area, we can decide as a council if it's acceptable to us in the design, in a number and what goes actually into the site itself, i.e. doctor's surgeries, bus stops, pedestrian walkways, cycleways, and so on and so forth. Yeah? Hopefully that explained it a little bit clearer.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, is that
Yeah,
okay, everybody?
that's okay.
That's the name of the plan. The item number 15, repair of loose railway sweeper in the parish car park. Is there anything to mention to that?
Basically, people keep hitting it with their car. Sam from Pearson's came and made me aware of it. He's made it safe, but I need a vote from the council to say that I can get quotes to get it repaired.
Is that big one on the right hand side? As you go into the left, it's on the left?
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it need to be shortened? It's the corner that's getting hit.
It is,
I think it needs to be shortened or chamfered, because it's a square stop at the moment. I don't know if you're all aware, in the Tovil Parish car park where the little post office is, come down the hill and up the hill. As you turn into the car park, there is on the right hand side of that the set of the railway sweepers that are holding the bank up. And they had actually just got a square cut edge. If it was shortened a bit or chamfered, maybe they wouldn't get hit so many times. Couldn't guarantee it, but it would sort of create a better, it wouldn't cost us so much in the long run, especially if somebody tried to sue us if it fell on their foot, although how that would happen I haven't got a clue. But we need to, obviously, we've had a provisional repair done, but it's not permanent. We need something done permanent, and I do believe that obviously the contractors that we are doing at the moment should do that. I propose myself to propose a motion that we get our contractors, which is Pearson's, to take a look at it and come up with a solution and a cost and a time frame of when they could do this. That's my proposal. Anyone would like to second that?
Yeah.
Second, John. All those in favour?
Got 2, 4, 6 in favour.
All those against?
None against.
All those abstaining?
I'm abstaining because I've got something really mind idea.
I was going to say, is that
Yeah, I'm saying my mind off.
Bless you.
Is that,
Can't for the life of me get it
is that
out.
an abstention, Councillor Hogg?
Yeah, I'll abstain, yeah.
Okay, the parish newsletter review.
Yes.
We've got paperwork here. The parish newsletter review. A purpose of the report and the summary. The Tovil News has been running since October 2017. It provides useful information to the local community. The purpose of this report is to demonstrate whether the newsletter is cost efficient and whether we should continue to do so to carry on printing and posting, delivering, sorry. In this report I won't examine, the report will examine the pros and cons of having the newsletter so the council can review this and make a decision on how best to proceed in the future. Have you all had a copy of this? Have you all read it about the background information? The newsletter is put together by Councillor Susan Hogg and Abigail Hogg, who go around the parish collecting information to put into this. A lot of time and effort goes into this from both councils, which I'm sure the council, admin staff and residents of Tovil are very grateful for the time they spend on this particular project. The newsletter has had 3 adverts paid for in the 2 years it's been in operation and has only generated an income of £65. The idea of the newsletter is that it will pay for itself and therefore not be paid out of the preset the taxpayers' money. The last newsletter that was not distributed due to the responsible officer having to pull it for legal reasons had no paid for advertising at all in it. The newsletter has cost a total of £513.75 since October 2017. Therefore, taking into account the above income of £25, it is currently running at a loss of £448.75. If this was a business, then I think we all agree that wouldn't last very long. Available options that we have: to examine the newsletter and find a way to get the newsletter paying for itself. A working party will be needed to put into place if that's the case, and it will be the council's responsibility to find the advertising and then stick to that budget and the strategy, or cancel the newsletter circulation and review this when the new council has had time to settle. We may get more councillors in the long run, we've got at the moment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Well, we'll be where?
Will be 11.
11, sorry, yeah. We may get more councillors who want to assist in the project of a newsletter once they've got used to their new roles in the community, and they might have new ideas. Preferred option and reasons for recommendation. The recommendation is option 3.2, which is cancel the newsletter. The reason being is that it will prevent the newsletter running any further into the red. It will stop us getting more and more in debt, or not in our debt, in the precept of the taxpayers that we charge. The councillors are very conscious about what money has been spent on, I'm sure we all will agree on that, that's why we're here, to help feed the people out. And keeping the precept as low as possible, year on year, hopefully, to charge the residents less and less of the precept. The old saying goes, look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. With this in mind, we need to look at small amounts being spent, little individual amounts, although I wouldn't say that £458 is a little amount.
I wasn't saying it
So
was.
the next steps, the communication and implementation of the decision. If the council decide to put a plan in place for to form a working party, obviously much when there's more councillors here, then the terms of this should be agreed at a meeting, and a meeting date should be set to form a working party. If the council wishes to take the option 3.2, which is cancellation, either permanent or temporary, so there is two options there as well, then we need to set a date, maybe in 12 to 24 months, so we can review the decision in court. So, obviously, I'll invite the floor to anybody at all. Has anybody got any? Yes, please, Councillor.
Yeah, I'd like to give a bit of background information. We used to have Downs Mail page every other month. We had a full page in Downs Mail. That used to cost in the region of 300 plus every other month.
Bi-monthly, yeah. So
Bi-monthly.
that's it, yeah.
So in total that costs over £2,000 a year for that page.
Yeah,
That's why the Downs Mail page got cancelled,
yeah,
because it wasn't cost effective
Yeah.
and a newsletter was a cheaper option.
yeah.
That's why the suggestion of a newsletter came around, because it was a cheaper option than getting the Downs Mail page every other month, which actually by the time it actually got to print, the news was out of date. So that was the reason newsletter was suggested, and also in our parish plan, it is actually in that parish plan of having a newsletter to keep residents informed.
Yeah,
Is it
yeah,
in the
yeah,
community?
yeah.
In community plan. yeah.
Sorry, yeah, it's when you said parish plan, it threw me.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
community plan.
Yeah.
It was, and that's sort of only one of the aspects that we are fulfilling at the moment in that plan. And
Yeah.
it was a newsletter, so it went around to residents, so they got, I know it's quarterly, and it gave them a bit of news, that I could find or people did provide me. And it also, I thought of providing people with useful contacts or
Yeah,
useful
keeps you in
information.
touch.
Yeah,
Keeps you in touch and what's going on.
Sorry.
useful information.
The only reason I put this on was because it was something the previous chairman brought up in the last term, and I realised it hadn't been done. So I'm going over things that haven't been done yet. So this was actually supposed to be done, and I take what you're saying. Yeah, so I just wanted to explain why it was on there. It's just I'm following up on what needs to be done.
The previous chairman.
Sorry, the previous chairman. But okay, last term. But that's why it's been popped on there. But yeah.
So, that's the reason, for the newsletter. I mean, it's the only sort of one thing possibly residents get to see where their money's being spent. So that is the reason for the newsletter. Anybody else's opinion on it? But that's what I feel is beneficial for the residents to have.
Okay, can I, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I'd like to propose that we
We're still in discussion at the moment.
Well, yeah, I think the newsletter is a good idea. And I think if we had a team of 3 or 4 people to work together and maybe knock on the residents' doors, what do you want, what, you know? And put it to the residents or the constituents more and see what they want to think. They might want to put a question in, they might want to say, well, let's have a quiz or questions you've been thinking, and you know, people will get onto it. So I would say it would be a good idea to keep on a trial basis, and then let's see if we can get a team together to work on it and make the newsletter work.
So you'd be quite prepared to spend more money
Well, considering
in the hope that when
yeah, because we ain't here to. I know we're here to save the money and everything else, but I think for yes, it sounds like it is a lot of money, but I think the residents need to know because we are acting on. I know we've got money, and they like to say, well, at least they're spending our money on something that we can read and make them know about. So I would think that if we put it to a vote, I would like to see it go on for a trial basis and see if we can improve the newsletter and maybe get people from local communities and shops to advertise. I mean, if someone said to me, do you want to advertise for £60 a quarter? Oh yeah, too right, you know what I mean? Because from one advertisement, then they put more in, then people say, well, how much was that? I saw your leaflet. And I think it could go on. So if we had a planning committee, or if we had a committee put in, and I think we could work it together to get the newsletter.
Yeah.
so
I was just going to bring up on the advertisement.
Yeah.
When it initially was decided, the advertisement, I did suggest £60 for half a page, but that was turned down for being too expensive.
Believe you me, it ain't.
And they wanted cheaper.